For this week's report, the Planning Board reviews a proposal for 4-story buildings on Portsmouth Ave. The American Independence Festival celebrated in Exeter. Opportunities to opt up for renewable energy. National Night Out returning to downtown. An update from the Exeter Public Library. And we tell the story of the local woman who saved the IOKA Marquee. For Exeter TV, I'm Gabe Perez, and this is the Exeter Biweekly Report. Let's get started. Thanks for tuning into the show today. We have another packed edition this week, including a special video on the fate of the IOKA Marquee at the end of the report, so stay tuned. For our first segment, a site plan review including 3 4-story buildings off of Portsmouth Ave was discussed at the Planning Board's July 11th meeting. Will Tapley has this recap from our Meeting Minute series.
Welcome to your Meeting Minute for the Planning Board's July 11th meeting. The first case was a continued public hearing on a site plan review about wetlands and shoreland conditional use permits for the construction of a commercial vehicle storage area, an accessory storage building, and associated site improvements on the property at 127 Portsmouth Ave.
We felt, and the board voted unanimously, that the risk at this property of such a large development that encompassed the whole, almost the entire buildable portion of the parcel was too much for the town, and we have these regulations, and that's what they're for. We don't have them so we can waive them every time, and this was the point of developing the shoreland, was to limit development around these important resources.
I just am very troubled by this, and I feel that this sets, I don't recall anything impacting buffers and shoreline protection areas to such an extent as this.
The board decided to continue the application at the next meeting. The third application was Planning Board Case 24-8 for the design and review of a proposed mixed-use development located at 76 Portsmouth Ave. Members of the developers team presented their proposal to add 3 4-story buildings in this conceptual mixed-use development.
So you can see in the front here we have an L-shaped building, and this again is a mixed-use neighborhood development with 3 separate apartment buildings. This front building would consist of commercial space as well as apartments. All 3 buildings will have parking on the basement level with 4 stories above grade. The orange are the wetland impacts, and again, these are only for man-made wetlands. We're not proposing any impacts to natural wetlands at all. And then we're proposing some wetland buffer impacts, which are the green and the yellow.
The public was invited to speak about the project.
Every one of the storm drains on Bonnie Drive and Haven Lane were buried under the snowbanks on that storm. By the time we had that rain event last winter, we had water ponding in this stretch of Bonnie Drive on the even side of the road, as well as a steady creek of water running straight down Haven Lane. Our storm drains just aren't working well enough.
We contend this is outside of the scope of the article as it was approved. Directly connecting 3 buildings 4 stories in height with 121 apartments and a triplex to one of Exeter's R2 neighborhoods cannot be, quote, consistent with the scale and historic character of the J.D. Hill neighborhood.
I understand development, commercial, residential projects, and the need for people to be able to utilize the land that they buy and potentially make a profit off it. But I see no reason why they can't keep whatever they're doing from a commercial or residential perspective to the Portsmouth Avenue side.
I recently spent all of my retirement money to build next to my son because I loved the town of Exeter, not the city of Exeter, which is going to become, if we start adding buildings, that's going to ruin the beauty. When I wake up in the morning, I look at a sunrise. I don't want to look at a high rise.
The idea of the mixed-use neighborhood development is to create a green, walkable community that has your retail and your housing all together. And so I think that a lot of the concerns that are coming up today is this plan may not reflect the intention of that.
No action was taken on the project as it's still in its conceptual state. To watch the full meeting, visit our Exeter TV YouTube page.
The American Independence Museum hosted the 34th Annual American Independence Festival last weekend to celebrate the founding of the United States in Exeter. We attended the event to learn more about why the town celebrates 2 weeks after the 4th. Fireworks boomed in celebration of America's independence on July 13th. Exeter was famously late to the party. The Declaration of Independence made its way to Exeter 12 days after it was signed in Philadelphia, read aloud and declared by John Taylor Gilman. The town now celebrates Independence Day on July 16th, particularly with the American Independence Museum's AIM-Fest, American Independence Festival.
We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is, and ought to be, totally dissolved.
Folks from all around come to engage in realistic and historically accurate recreations of life in Exeter and America in its earliest years. From artisans perfecting their craft, to reenactors happy to give history lessons to those that asked, even bearing the heat, the festival continued on and those in attendance had more than enough to indulge on. By the end of the night, through a bit of rain and shine, the fireworks were launched, giving a fitting close to the night, celebrating Exeter's personal freedoms and the freedom of the United States. You can watch an extended version of some of the festival's activities right here on Exeter TV or on Comcast Channel 6. Since its launch last year, Exeter Community Power has allowed residents to save money on their energy bills and enabled them to choose a higher percentage of renewable energy in their energy supply. Energy Committee member Amy Farnham walks us through how to opt up for more renewables in this quick tutorial.
Hello, I am Amy Farnham from the Exeter Energy Committee, and today I'm going to show you how to opt up to a higher level of renewables for community power. So the first thing you want to do is have your Unitil bill handy. You will need that account number, and you're going to go into the internet and go to communitypowernh.gov. You'll see the landing page. You want to scroll down to Exeter on the left. Scroll down a little bit more and you'll see electricity choices just below the picture. So click on that. It's going to show you our current rates. So to begin, I'm going to use the drop down to pick Unitil. Again, we're picking Exeter. Hit next. Your account number, zip code, next. So the customer or business name should match what you have on your bill. Your address, zip again, we're residential, your phone number, email address, and next. So here it shows what I'm signed up for already, which is Granite Basic, which is the default where everyone got signed up to begin with. But I would like to choose Clean 100, which means 100% of my electricity will come from renewables. So I'm going to hit Clean 100. You can see over here what I'm going to be paying, 12.4 cents per kilowatt hour. And again, this is our default 8.1 cents per kilowatt hour. And here's where Unitil is so that you can make a decision based on what you were paying before. And I certify that I'm authorized to do so. Hit next. Shows me all of the information I just put in and submit. That's it. You're done. If you had issues doing that, you can go to the Community Power home site and ask them if it went through or not, but you should be hearing from them as a confirmation. So thanks for doing this.
With August just around the corner, we spoke with Detective Bruce Page to learn more about their upcoming event, National Night Out.
Hi everybody, my name is Detective Bruce Page and I wanted to let everybody know about National Night Out this year. It's going to be on August 6th, which is a Tuesday, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's going to be very similar to last year. We had an awesome turnout last year. We're hoping to get even more people this year. We have a dunk tank. We're going to have face paint, balloon animals, temporary tattoos, stomp rockets. The music's going to be the two of us again this year. They're awesome. They're a Beatles tribute band. Food trucks are going to be here. The fire department's going to sell some hot dogs this year, which is a new thing, which is awesome. A bunch of vehicles are going to be there. The highway department's going to have vehicles there. Hopefully we have Fish and Game. They come out with their boat every year. Other PDs have already signed on to join in with us. Kensington's there every year. Newfields is going to be there, just to name a couple of the PDs that will be on hand. They're going to have their cars. Kids can sit in the cars, check them out. Our main sponsor this year is going to be the Exeter area new car dealers. We also get help from the Knights of Columbus and Kiwanis. And I wanted to give a shout out to all the organizations that help us. Parks and Rec, Exeter Highway Department, Lions, Dunkin' Donuts is going to be on hand. They always show up and they're awesome. They're going to bring a bunch of donuts for kids to decorate. So there's a bunch of organizations that I want to give thank you to. Thanks for always helping us out, guys. Hope to see everybody there.
Up next is your monthly update from the Exeter Public Library.
Hi, I'm Shelby at the Exeter Public Library, and here is your library update. This summer has been hot, and the library is an official cooling station for the town. We have AC, covered deck space, cold water, and a water bottle refilling station. Stay cool and stay hydrated at the library. For the month of July, Exeter Public Library will receive $1 for every Bloomin' for Good bouquet sold at the Hannaford Supermarket on 141 Portsmouth Avenue in Exeter. Now for some summer reading updates. The library has fun for people of all ages this summer. Kids ages 11 and under can sign up for summer reading in the children's room. They have fun events and activities every day. For teens grades 6 to 11, summer reading continues until August 3rd. Teens checking out items will get prizes and raffle tickets for the possibility of more prizes. From family movies on Mondays at 10 to a big event every Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. On July 24th, they will be painting ceramics, but sign-ups are required. July 31st will be a fun showcase of some friendly animal ambassadors from the Center for Wildlife. Teen events are every Tuesday at 3 p.m. On Saturday, July 20th at 10 a.m., please join us for a great morning of Seacoast Readers Theater. They will read 7 short plays presented by the amazing Playwrights Collaborative talent. Join for some hilarious comedies and compelling dramas. August 1st at 6:30 p.m. is an intro to line dancing with Lark Line Dance. This event is sponsored by Exeter Run Club. No sign-ups are required, just bring your dancing shoes. August 7th is the 29th annual Stuffed Pet Show, and August 14th is a lively performance by Genoa the Jester. August 8th at 6 p.m., come to learn about Hiking 101 from the Exeter Area Boy Scouts. Every day of the week, you can play games at the library. Mondays at 2 p.m., they play Taiwanese Mahjong. Tuesdays at 2 p.m. is Duplicate Bridge. Wednesdays at 1 p.m. is American Mahjong. And Thursdays at 10 a.m., they play Gorin Bridge. Come by to learn and play. I'm Shelby, and this has been your summer update from the library.
And finally, we have a special segment on the efforts of one local woman to save the historic IOKA Marquee.
The letters IOKA on the Mayor building were one of the most beloved landmarks of the downtown area. For generations since the building was first opened in 1915, some form of an IOKA Marquee hung on the brick facade over Water Street. Playing a variety of films, the sign's letters displayed many titles and even some costumes over the years, but on Christmas Eve in 2008, the IOKA played its last film. When the theater closed, several efforts were made by the community to save the IOKA, but in 2020, the building was sold and redevelopment plans were unveiled showing that the historic marquee was slated to be removed, and its fate unknown. For one citizen, the thought of losing such an important part of history was unthinkable. Enter Laurie A. Couture. She worked at the IOKA as a teenager in the 90s and had fallen in love with the building.
I worked the concession stand with my best friend Brendan Sanborn, and to this day, it's still one of my favorite jobs that I ever had.
After the theater had closed, Laurie and her late son Bryson were heavily involved in the efforts to save the building and reopen it as a theater. Ultimately, these community efforts were unsuccessful.
It was very sad because that was really the end of the IOKA Theater as we know it.
Jumping to 2020, the IOKA had a new owner and plans for renovations were before local boards and committees for review, with the marquee not included on the face of the building. She started a large campaign to petition the Historic District Commission and later the Zoning Board of Adjustment to preserve the marquee. Ultimately, the removal of the sign went forward.
So with the history that I have with the marquee, which includes, and with the whole IOKA, which includes me working there as a child, my grandmother going there as a child, taking me and my sister to the movies there, my best friend and I having free reign of the marquee and of the building itself. I mean, we had free reign to go in the marquee, go all throughout the building. You just fall in love with it. It becomes your own. Jim Blanco used to let us knock on the, hey Jim, can we go in the marquee? Yes. Crawl out the window, get inside the O, look at all the town. You know, you develop a real fondness and caring for the town structures. So that, and then the fact that the other piece of it was my son Bryson, who I lost in 2017. He was so involved with the IOKA efforts in those earlier efforts, and he loved the marquee. There was one last push in me to try to see if there was something that could be done to save the marquee, even if it would no longer go back on the building.
Couture met with the developers and pleaded her case for the marquee to be saved. They made an arrangement to store the sign until a permanent home could be found. Last week, Couture had her dreams realized, making the 900-mile journey from New Hampshire to the American Sign Museum in Cincinnati, Ohio, for the unveiling of the newly renovated IOKA Marquee.
I keep almost looking around for Exeter, but I just see all these beautiful signs. The IOKA Marquee is in the perfect place.
The marquee was a part of the American Sign Museum's new 20,000 square foot expansion to represent a downtown Main Street of America. We spoke to Aaron Holland, the Director of Education and Engagement at the Sign Museum, to learn more about the project.
And our mission is to preserve and celebrate American signage and that history. And so we have signs from all across the country and over 100 years worth on display. So neon signs, hand-painted signs, light bulbs, we've got it all.
The sign needed a lot of restoration work to be ready for installation. Staff needed to make a plan for safely mounting the sign, making sure the electric and wiring was up to code, and restoring the neon. But with the new wing of the museum now open, visitors from far and wide can come witness what Exeter residents have loved for so many years, giving solace to Couture and others.
Yes, my heart is sad that it will no longer be a theater and that the marquee is not on the building, but I am very happy with the outcome that we have had, if that can't be. So it's almost like a bit where you have to have two sets of emotions existing at the same time. So if this is what it is, this is the best outcome, and I'm pleased with it because the IOKA is still here and the marquee is now going to be restored. The neon will be restored and turned back on, and the sign will once again glow beautifully. and it'll outlive all of us, for sure.
A huge thank you to Laurie A. Couture, the American Sign Museum, and Morningstar Aerial for making this video possible.
A huge thank you to Laurie A. Couture for her help with the segment and for her successful efforts to save the historic marquee. We'll have another update on the IOKA building in our next show, so stay tuned. That does it for this week's report. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to help us spread the word. And head over to the town website and subscribe to the town's email newsletter to get this show and other town news sent straight to your inbox. We'll be back on August 2nd for the next edition of the show. For Exeter TV, I'm Gabe Perez, and this has been the Exeter Biweekly Report. Have a good weekend, Exeter. Is that good?